So here we are, continuing with this Pokemon themed month with the Electric Tale of Pikachu manga. Another one of the first Pokemon manga created, and this one actually follows the anime instead of the games. So yeah, instead of following Red, this one will be following Ash as he goes on his own Pokemon journey, alongside Pikachu, who's the title character for some reason. Anyway, the plot of course starts off with Ash meeting Pikachu, who instead of being given to him by Professor Oak in this version, who does show up but much later, Ash instead meets Pikachu when he sneaks into his house in order to chew on an electrical wire. That's very different, isn't it? Anyway, from here on out, he goes off on his journey pretty much to one up Gary for being an asshole. Because Gary, they got him pretty much right. He's a complete asshole. Along the way, he meets up with Brock and Misty, and the three become friends and journey together. But for one thing, they don't start off journeying together. In fact, they don't journey together very frequently throughout the course of this manga. Also, Tracy isn't a thing, which is pretty much a really great thing. But yeah, there are plenty of small changes from the anime in this manga. Aside from how Ash begins his journey in the first place, everyone is slightly older. Well, Ash is still called a 10-year-old. He looks slightly older than he does in the anime. Misty is 12 in this version, although she again looks slightly older. And Brock is around 14 to 15, and looks right for his age. Another big change is the fact that Ash isn't a total idiot in this version. He actually knows when to catch a Pokemon, and doesn't just get lucky with his battles, instead he actually fights and wins battles. Another thing is the system of the Pokemon League works slightly differently than it does in the anime. For one thing, it appears that gym badges aren't necessary for you to complete and gain entry in the Pokemon League, as he does do a few gym battles, but he doesn't actually make that his main goal. And secondly, Pokemon are given ranks depending on their rarity. Also, Sabrina is a completely different character in this, as in most versions she's this kind of sadistic psychic torture woman. In this version, she's a kind, caring individual, and it's really jarring when you see that episode and read that chapter back to back. It's like night and day difference. Now, another change is the whole Pokemon League scenario as a whole, as it pretty much goes how the Pokemon League went in the anime. However, the ending's totally different. Instead of Charizard choosing to follow Ash's orders at the very end, it leads to a Charizard on Charizard battle, which is really great, honestly. It's really, really good. But I'm sorry to say you can't talk about this series without talking about the controversy and the fan service. The artist of the series, Tosh Ahiro Ona, as you can tell, I don't speak Japanese, well, it has a very distinct art style involving large breasted women and some very blatant, obvious fan service shots. The closest thing I can compare it to in terms of female character design is Masari Obari, and I said that one better because I've heard it pronounced before, although it's still a lot better than Obari's work, and if you've seen Obari's work, you know what I'm talking about. When he was interviewed about basically when he was interviewed about the English release of the manga, he mentioned he had to change the art style for the US release. The art also changes the look of various Pokemon. Pikachu looks the same, but other Pokemon look kind of like Monster Hunter monsters in a sense. They look similar, but they have their own very distinct look and feel. Honestly, overall, this is a very simple 4-issue series. It has an interesting take on the world of Pokemon, in particular with the anime and its various characters, but it's still a very simple series. Another thing is that it doesn't end with the Pokemon League. It manages to go on to the Orange Island arc, albeit it speeds that crap up a lot, and manages to get one full story out there before it completely ends, before Johto sets off. And of course, the final issue goes over details of the Orange Island arc with the battle against Drake, but also manages to adapt the Misty Meets for a Match episode, which is infamous amongst Poke Sippers for basically being a bunch of shipping fuel. Speaking of shipping, we also end up with a bunch of Jesse and James shipping. As at the final shots, they get together, and one of the final shots is very pregnant Jessie being held by James as Meowth walks off. I didn't mention Team Rocket much in this because they don't show up too frequently. They show up every now and then, but not enough to be that much of a note except from this final chapter. And I honestly wish the anime would take notes on that. Overall, this is a classic manga and something that any fan of the original anime would like. The art style could be a point of contention depending on how you feel about fan service, but I honestly feel it's still a good read. So, we'll be continuing this Pokemon theme next week, and I hope you enjoyed this one, and enjoyed the manga selection. And if I sound weird, I'm sorry, I have a bit of a cold. So, till next time.